We're staying in our office layout _2.dwg file. We're going to take a look now at the divide and measure tools that are available to us in AutoCAD. Now, a couple of bits of housekeeping. Go up to the draw panel, click on the flyout arrow, and just pin open the extended draw panel there like so. And then on the layer drop down, go to your layers, and I need you to select the nodes layer as the current drafting layer. Last but not least, we're going to go over to the utilities panel, click on the flyout and select point style. Now at the moment, the point style in this drawing is that tiny little dot. We're going to select this one. Now the reason we're selecting that one is one, it's a bit more obvious than a dot, and we're going to make the point size 5% relative to screen. Now you will remember this from previous videos. Do you remember we set the point size relative to the screen to make sure that when we zoom in and out, obviously it's visible more than anything else. Okay, that. And now we've got everything set up to place our nodes in our drawing. Now we're going to zoom in on this area here, just below the bin store, first of all. So make sure you can see the bin store and make sure you can see this little bit of planting and this green line here. What we're going to do is we're going to utilize these two commands on the draw panel. We've got divide and we've got measure. Divide basically divides an object into equal segments. So if I now go up to divide, like so, and select our green line and say I want 5 segments, can you see it places a node at each of the segments? So if I now come down to my object snaps here and click on the arrow and switch node on so that I can snap to those nodes, and then click on the arrow again just to close the menu, I can now select my plant here, right click and use the copy selection on the shortcut menu. If you zoom in real tight, you'll see that you can just get on the end of that line there or an intersection in the center of the plant. Left click. So you're copying from that point. Now if you zoom out again, pan again, you can then snap to each node, clicking away quite happily, press enter to finish, and you've now got 5 little bushes, little plants to kind of camouflage the bin store at the side of the building. Now you can still see the nodes there behind the plants. We'll cover that in a moment. Just zoom out a bit now and pan across. Now you'll notice there's a slightly bigger plant over here. Now we're going to use this command this time. We're going to use the measure tool. So click on measure and come into the drawing area. Now, like with divide, we're selecting the object to measure, but we are defining a specific length to measure along the object. So you need to make sure that, one, you know the distance, which I do, and secondly, you select the right end of the object to measure from. Now, I know that this line will go exactly into 1000 millimeter increments because I've measured it. So what I'm going to do is use this end of the line here and click, because I'm measuring from the end where the planting is. I'm going to type in 1000 and enter, and there you go. They're all divided by 1000. You'll notice that last node at the end sits exactly on the end. So obviously this line is exactly divisible by 1000. And again, you can use the copy. So you select the plant, right click, copy selection, zoom in, get that intersection or end point, there it is, left click, zoom out again, and you can just place those on each of the node snaps. Left click, and you'll see the node snap appear each time. As soon as it appears, just left click and place. So we'll just copy those across like so, just a few more to go, and then enter to finish like so. Now if I zoom out a bit now and do what they call a regen, type in regen and press enter, you'll notice, can you see the nodes get bigger because they're now regenerated and are 5% of the screen size again. But we don't really want them appearing on the drawing all the time. They're reference points at the end of the day. So ideally, we want that layer frozen or turned off. So go to your layer drop down. Select plants. Obviously, we're working with plants. Make plants the current drafting layer. Click on the layer drop down again and go to nodes and click on the sun symbol. You'll see them disappear because that layer is now frozen in the drawing. So hit escape a couple of times and you'll notice that you can't see those nodes anymore that you snap to place the plants. So that's all well and good. Everything looks really tidy and is landscaped beautifully with the plants along those lines. Now, there is another way of using divide and measure. You can actually utilize the AutoCAD block, the plant block, instead of having to do the copy all the time. Now, we're going to look at the one near the bin store. So zoom in a little bit, like so. And what we're going to do, we're going to remove all of these. So select all 5, like that. And then just right-click and erase them. So there's erase on the shortcut menu. Obviously, we need to place these on the plants layer. Hence, I'm on the plants layer. I'm going to come up here to the draw panel and click here on divide. Come into the drawing area and I'll select the line at the end of the line I want to start dividing from, which will be this end. Click on it. And then you'll notice on the command line, can you see we've got block in brackets? If I right click, I can select block on the shortcut menu as well. Select block. And it says enter the name of the block to insert. Now the name of the block for these plants is very simple. It's just plant, like so. So you know the name of the block, press enter, and it says align block with object. Yes, because we're going vertically up the line. So just press enter to accept the yes. If you were going at an angle or along a curved line, you might say no to that. Number of segments is going to be 5. And then when I press enter, they're a bit small, aren't they? There's something a bit weird going on there. That's because the plant block, when it was originally inserted into the drawing, it was obviously brought in a bit smaller. Now, that could have various implications. The implications are that they're very, very small in this particular case. But also, you've got to realize that there might be an insertion scale going on. So if you just right-click with no commands running and go to Options, and go to User Preferences here, notice insertion scale is doing what it should. The source content goes to the target drawing. It's millimeters and millimeters. So there's nothing there with the insertion scale that's causing a problem because this is a millimeters drawing. All it is that that particular block has obviously been brought in smaller and resized for use in this drawing. So what we've got to do there is undo what we've done. So we just click on undo, undo a couple of times, and then we're back to where we were before. Now, remember that though, sometimes it's better to use the node method, especially if you zoom out, you'll notice that we've got lots of different sizes of plants and they're all using the plant block. So just be aware of that when you use the block option when you're using divide and measure. You want to make sure that the block is the appropriate size when you bring it in. It might have been resized in the drawing, and obviously, as you can see, they were kind of tiny in this particular drawing.